Hello, everybody. Welcome to this pre-departure webinar for all non-European applicants to Utrecht University. Today, we're going to talk you through everything that you need to prepare before your departure to Utrecht as an international student here. Let's first start by introducing ourselves. My name is Arlinda. I work for the International Marketing Department of Utrecht University. I'm a former student of Utrecht University myself. I studied a master's in communication sciences. And after that, I started working for the university, first in admissions and now in marketing. And I'm joined today by Sian. Hi, Sian.
Hi.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Sian. I did my master here also at Utrecht and now a PhD student in the sociology department. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll be your hosts for today and we'll talk you through all of these topics that you see here on the slide. So we divided them in four topics, four big
things.
Categories, let's say. We have before you leave, coming to the Netherlands, upon arrival, and student life here in Utrecht. And let's start with the first one, before you leave. So the most important thing that you have to arrange before coming here as a non-European student is, of course, your visa and your residence permit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of steps that you have to take, and we've put them here all in order. One very important thing is that this is not everything. Like, more elaborate information can be found on the visa and residence permit information that will be sent to you through the admissions office. Yeah. So that is like your go-to place where you can see all the steps and follow everything. But we'll just go over it here very quickly, not so much in detail. So the first thing that you have to do is accept the offer from Utrecht University. So after you've applied, you will receive a decision from the admission committee. And you have to confirm your place. You have to tell us that you're actually intending of coming to Utrecht and starting your program, because we have to know that. Only after you've done that, you will receive all the visa and residence permit information. So that's something very important that you should do first. Also, you have to pay the invoice. There will be an invoice sent to you, and you have to pay the full amount. This includes your tuition fee if you're a full degree student. And this is just a very important part of the visa application. We can't apply for your visa if we haven't received your full tuition fee. Of course, you have to make a copy of your passport. That's what we need. It needs to be valid for at least 6 months from the start of your studies. Mm-hmm. And you have to prove the financial means to study in the Netherlands. This is also very important. More detailed information is in the fact sheet, all the information of the visa and residence permit. You have to fill in the necessary application forms. It differs a bit what kind of forms are required for you based on your situation. Some nationalities have to have other forms than other nationalities, so make sure to check that, what applies to you. And you need to obtain health insurance as part of your visa application. We advise you to obtain AON Complete Plus. This is a specific health insurance for international students. So it's really tailored for international students, and this is really the best way to go.
If I may add something,
yes, of course.
I think the health insurance, you also have to cover sort of the first semester of your stay. So it cannot be just like 1 month of health insurance. You have to show that you've covered enough period of time of your health insurance.
Yes, exactly. It needs to be valid for the complete time that you're intending to study here, and not only for a month. Yeah. Some additional steps. So after you've gained all the documentation and you filled all in the forms, you need to send that to us. We have a digital application system, a visa application system. It's in Osiris online application. If you've applied for a master's or a bachelor's program, you've already went through Osiris. So you just have to log in again, and there will be a separate process for the visa and health insurance, the visa and residence permit application. You just need to upload all scans of your documents and fill everything in, and it will be sent to us, the university. We will do a final check, and then we will send it to the IND, so the immigration services of the Netherlands. So it's not like by filling in this form, it will directly go to the IND. No. We always check it first, so that's very good to know. Yeah. Do you remember filling in all these forms for your visa as young when you came
Yes,
here?
and I also remember I did have to send all the hard copies or sort of send the like physical documents to the university.
Yeah, that's
So
true. Yeah.
it's improved now.
Yeah. Yeah, most likely you don't have to send in your hard copies anymore, but you can do it online. They're now debating on that. So please make sure to check the visa and residence permit information because that will have the latest information on there.
Yeah.
But at least you have to do it in a digital application first. So it depends a bit on what nationality you have if you also need an entry visa. For some countries, you only need a residence permit and not an entry visa. If you need an entry visa, the visa office or our visa office will send you an email when you can make an appointment with the Dutch embassy in your country to pick up your visa.
Yeah. If I may add one thing, I'm from China, so for Chinese students, you also have to apply for the NAVIC certificates.
Yeah.
It's also part of the visa application
Yeah, that's
procedure.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you remember when you had to pick up your entry visa from the Dutch embassy in
Yes.
China?
Yeah.
How did it go?
I don't have like Dutch embassy in my city, so I went to Guangzhou, which is not far from my city, but it's still a bit travel distance thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's
It went
also
well.
that's also a thing to realize that sometimes there is no Dutch embassy in your country
city.
and you have to travel somewhere
Yeah.
else to obtain it. But we will tell you what is the nearest embassy that you can go to make your appointment. As you can see on the slide, there's some deadlines that you have to take into account. Again, they differ based on your nationality. June 15 is the deadline to complete the complete visa procedure. The deadline is a bit later if you are from the countries that you see here on the screen, and that is because you don't need an entry visa for these countries. Again, more elaborate information can be found on the visa and resident permit information on the website, or that will be sent to you through the admissions office. If you have any specific questions, it's always best to email the admissions office directly. They're very responsive. You usually get a reply within 2 days. And they know a lot about this because they've been doing this for quite some time. So any questions or doubts you have, just send us an email. Okay. Health insurance. Yes, so for your visa, we advise you to get the AON Complete Plus package. This is very common health insurance for international students. Something to consider that if you want to take up a job while you're studying, so you want to get a part-time job, AON Complete will not cover you. You need to have Dutch basic health insurance. It's called basisverzekering in Dutch. And that is something extra that you need to obtain if you want to work in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Do you have Dutch health insurance?
I have the basic health insurance now because I am now a PhD student. So.
And do you remember how you applied for it? Was it easy? Was it in English, all the information?
Yeah, it was quite handful, I think. I just switched my insurance from AON Complete to, I now have a different health insurance company, but it's it's quite convenient, I think. And I don't have to actually, if you are for example, you take part-time jobs and possibly you can apply for the refund, like tax refund, so you don't necessarily have to pay like 90 or 100 euro per month. You can get part of the money refunded by the municipality.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, by the Dutch government. You can get the money refunded. Yeah, that's the case
so
if
don't
you
be scared.
if you don't have an actual job or a really high salary, then you can get a refund from the Dutch government for this health insurance. So you don't have to pay the amount that you see there. You don't have to pay it all by yourself. And it usually covers the complete fee that you have to pay for a month. So that's...
But you do need to apply for the basic health insurance.
Yeah, you do need to find that out for. It's not going to come automatically.
No.
And in that sense, it also helps a lot if you have like a Dutch friend or a Dutch classmate or someone who can like help you translate stuff. But there's a lot of information available in English, but some procedures are just only in Dutch, and then it might help you to get a Dutch buddy who can translate stuff for you. Okay, so that is about health insurance. So working next to your studies. So as I already said, if you want to work next to your studies in the Netherlands, you need to obtain Dutch health insurance. As a non-European student, you also need a work permit. You're not allowed to work in the Netherlands without a work permit. This is something that you cannot apply for yourself. Your employer has to apply for your work permit. So when you sign a contract, then the employer will apply for you for that, so that you're allowed to work. Also, as a non-European student, you have a maximum amount of hours that you're allowed to work in the Netherlands. This is because you're coming here on a study visa, so you're not allowed to exceed that number of hours. This is 16 hours per week or full-time in the summer months, so June, July, and August. Mm-hmm. And as I said, you need Dutch health insurance. Next slide. Hello. No? I'm having some trouble. Oh, there we go.
Housing market.
Housing market. Yes.
It's always difficult.
Yeah. Even the slides have difficulty with it. Yeah. So housing. Housing is, of course, a very important thing that you have to think about before coming to the Netherlands, because everyone that wants to study here has to live somewhere. So the good news about housing is that around 20% of Utrecht's population is a student, and there's more and more international students coming to Utrecht. So it's a very nice and fun place to live. But that, of course, also comes with a downside. The housing market is very tough. Finding accommodation. I just wanted to mention that we also did a separate housing webinar last April. You can watch that webinar on our website. So if you want more information on housing specifically, we advise you to watch that webinar. But since it's a very important topic, we'll just quickly go over some things now here in this webinar as well. The first thing we want to stress is do not underestimate the time and effort it may take you to find something in the Netherlands. The Netherlands, it works a bit different if you compare it to other countries that you might used to. In the Netherlands, universities do not own any housing. Usually there's not a campus where people study and live, all of them just automatically. It's not how it works. We as a university also don't own any housing. We do work together with some housing agencies that can provide housing for international students. But in general, it's your own responsibility to find something, and it's very common to do as a Dutch student. So we have a lot of information on housing on our website, uu.nl/housing. You can find all the different options. We advise students at least to apply for the SSH. The SSH is the biggest housing company here in Utrecht. Also in other cities in the Netherlands, there's SSH. You can apply for it on their website. It's a one-time form that you have to fill in, and then you have to pay a one-time fee of, I think, like 30 euros or something, and then you're registered through SSH. And SSH gives out housing based on waiting time. So the longer you're registered with SSH, the bigger chance you have of getting a room. If you're only planning to come here for 6 months or for a year, it might not be so useful to register for SSH because the waiting time is quite long. But if you have a 3-year program, then it might be pretty worth it to register with SSH, so you can get something through SSH maybe later on. SSH also has a reserved accommodation for international students. This is furnished and this is for 1 year. The application for this opens somewhere in May. It depends on if you're an exchange student or a full degree student, what the exact date is. Usually this is booked within like a half hour. It goes very quick. It's like buying concert tickets. We always say you constantly have to refresh the page. It's very stressful.
It can be.
Yeah. So depending on what time you're watching this webinar, it might be already fully booked. That's why it says so on the slides. But yeah, on the website uu.nl/housing, you can find more information about all those deadlines and how to register for that. We also advise you to broaden your search and not only look in Utrecht, the city itself, but also in surrounding cities. The Netherlands is a very small country. The distances are not very big. You can easily commute.
we do have a map next.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the-
yeah.
on
I
our
was just
next-
gonna say the next slide is actually a nice little map. There, yeah.
So you can see all the possible
Yeah,
areas that you can
exactly.
live.
So there are a lot of nice smaller towns around Utrecht, and you can see the distances. They're not very big. Where do you used to live?
I
Sian, or
actually
where you
lived
live?
in Zeist
In
for my
Zeist.
first year.
Yeah, all right, yes.
As you can see from the map, it looked like it's a bit of outside of Utrecht. It's another city, but it's actually very close to Utrecht Science Park. It took me like 15 minutes by bike, and there is a direct bus from Zeist to Utrecht city center. So
Yeah.
it's really convenient.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like you're living in a city different from Utrecht and then you have to commute an hour for a study. It's not the case.
That's really true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I myself used to live in Oud-Zuilen. You can see it on the top left corner. It's close to Maarsen. It is still part of Utrecht, but it's like really outside. I used to cycle to the city in like 20-25 minutes. And if I wanted to go to the science park, it would be about 40 minutes biking, but I could also take a bus. So it's really not the end of the world, just to stress that. And there's a lot of international students living in all these tinier villages. Usually the rent is also a bit cheaper than if you were to rent in Utrecht city center. Yeah, so that's also an extra plus. Yeah, so these are a couple of screenshots of websites that provide advertisements of rooms that you could look into.
Mm-hmm.
The one on the left is Kamernet. Kamer is the Dutch word for room. It's very important to know. Have you used these websites yet?
Not really, actually.
Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of them. So Kamernet is the most, the biggest one. You also have huurwoningen.nl. That's a very big one. We have a list on our website of all these different sites that you could look into. So yeah, as you can see, it usually has a couple of pictures of the room, and it says like how many square meters it is and how much it costs, and yeah, from what time the room is available.
Maybe it's important to note, like if you find house on these websites that are too good to be true, it's probably not true. So be careful with the...
That's a very important tip. I mean, we do have some scamming in that sense because the demand is just very high. So people, make use of that, let's say. Very important tip to mention, never transfer any money in advance. No. Never do that. No. And if you are in doubt about something or about a contract, or you're not sure if it's legit, you can always come to our student service desk or email the housing office. We have housing officers available to help you, so they can take a look at the contract together with you and give you some tips and advice. So this is an overview of some of the websites that you could look into to find housing. A lot of people find a house through Facebook, actually. There's a lot of big Facebook groups that you can join, say like Housing in Utrecht or Kamer in Utrecht, like Room in Utrecht. You can just join those groups for free, and everyone posts their advertisements of a room in there, and then you can react to it and make an appointment to view the room. So this is the housing website. You can see our website for all these different topics. So some tips and tricks, the kind of housing providers that we work with, booking instructions for all the reserved accommodation. It's very helpful, and there's a lot of information on there. So if you want to know anything more, please go to that website. Some tips and tricks. Start looking as soon as possible. Yeah, we can't stress this enough. If you're watching this webinar and you haven't looked into any accommodation, start now. Really, yes. It always helps to use your network. So if you already know people in the Netherlands or people in Utrecht, just ask around. That's very helpful. Check all the websites that we mentioned before. There's a lot to find. We also advise students to look for temporary housing. Because it's a bit easier to get it. And then from there, you can look into more permanent options. For example, a lot of students that study in Utrecht, they go abroad for half a year to do an exchange somewhere else. And then for that time, it's usually 6 months, they want to sublet their place because they want to come back to it when they come back to Utrecht. So that's really a nice way to get something like temporary in Utrecht, because then you can just sublet their room. You don't have to buy any furniture. Usually they just leave everything in there.
Exactly.
And then you can just, live there for half a year, and from there search for something after that. Yeah, so that's very common thing that international students do.
And it is quite common to move several times actually.
Yes, definitely.
Within your stay.
Yeah, I think I was a student for in total 4 years, and I think I've lived in 5 different houses, and that's really not uncommon. Not at all.
Exactly.
And as we said already, look for accommodation in surrounding towns. So not only focus on Utrecht, but also on the smaller towns around Utrecht, like we showed on the map. In the Netherlands, we have a thing which is called hospiteren. I'm going to explain this to you because this is a very Dutch thing, and usually students are quite confused by it. Did you know what it was, Sia?
I knew it. I didn't actually go through this, but I knew from my colleague who actually did this. Yeah. It was quite fun.
Yeah, it's very fun. Well, so how it works is that usually a lot of students just live in private rental houses, and then they have 4 rooms, for example, and they share a kitchen and a bathroom. And then if one of these 4 people leaves, then there's a room vacant. So they will put it on a Facebook group, for example, saying, hey, we live with 3 girls and we're looking for a roommate. Yeah. We are 4 girls. We are studying this, this, and this. We're between this and this age, and we're looking for this and this type of roommate, something like that. And then you can react to that advertisement and say hello, and tell a little bit about yourself. And then they will invite you for the hospiteeravond. This is kind of like a group viewing. So you come there, and there's usually an amount of other students as well that are interested in the room, like maybe 10 or 15 other people that also want to get the room. Sometimes they do it in a group setting. It could also be that they invite you after each other, so they want to talk to you one-on-one, and then you leave, and then the next person comes in. And it's just like a tiny mini interview, because they want to know what kind of person you are and if you would be a good fit for the house. It can be quite awkward because it can feel like you're going on a job interview, and you get quite nervous and you want people to like you, and it's a bit awkward and strange. And but it's also just a good way to see if you would fit in the house and if you would like to live in that house as well, because it's from both ways. I mean, if they don't want to live with you, then you don't want to live with them, most likely.
Probably, yeah.
And it also helps because if then you really find a house, then it will be a nice place to live, and you can become friends with your roommates and eat together, and it's a very social thing. For this, of course, it helps if you're actually in Utrecht, if you're already here. Some students will allow you to do a Skype interview. Not all of them, though. Usually they want to see you in person, which works better for them. So this is something that you're definitely going to encounter while looking for rooms in Utrecht. So it's best to be prepared for that. Yes. And it's really not uncommon to go on like 10 or 15 of these hospiteeravonden before you actually get a room. That's just how it works. Yeah. Don't let it discourage you, though. Just be persistent. Yes. And also don't be too picky. If you found something and it might not check all your boxes or be anything you've ever wanted, just take it, because
it's better to have something.
Exactly. Yeah. And as we said, it helps with if you have build up a network a bit in the Netherlands, if you already know some people. Mingle with students, let everyone know that you're looking for something. Go to supermarkets, ask around. It's your own responsibility, so do anything you can. We also have a cooperation with a hostel in Utrecht. So for everyone that hasn't found any accommodation yet, they can stay in a hostel with a discount for the first month, for September. So a lot of students make use of that, and while they're staying in the hostel, they go to all these hospiteeravonden and all these group viewings, to find something more permanent. So we also offer that for the first month. And register with SSH if you're planning to stay here for longer than a year, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
a lot of information.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Where do you live now, by the way, Sian?
In Utrecht.
Okay.
City center, actually. I found my house from the Perarius.
Okay, Perarius.
So
yeah, that's also a very useful website.
Agency.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, because of course we have the private rental, but there's also a lot of housing agencies, like private housing agencies that you can.
They can help you find a house, but they do charge service fee.
Yeah,
for a certain amount.
You do have to pay a fee for that, of course, but then you do have a bit more guarantee that you find something. So that's the housing part. Again, if you want to know more, you can watch the housing website or go to uu.nl/housing. We're gonna move on to coming to the Netherlands.
Finally, you're here.
You're already here. You have your entry visa. You have your little passport, and you can go and come to Schiphol, most likely.
First.
I see that the first part of the sentence, but it says coming to the Netherlands, which you probably would have guessed. So the main airport in the Netherlands is Schiphol Airport. It's the biggest airport. It's near our capital, Amsterdam. From Schiphol Airport, it's very convenient to go to Utrecht. It's about 30 minutes with the train. And the train goes 4 times per hour. And it's about €8 to go, so it's very convenient. If you want to continue your journey, if you're coming to Utrecht Central Station and you have to continue on a local bus or something, do be aware that local buses stop driving around midnight usually. So please take that into account when you're booking your flights. It's super convenient, by the way, to go from Schiphol because the train station is directly at the airport.
Exactly, that's what I like about Schiphol Airport. Actually.
You can just directly from the gate just walk, and then you're on the train station, so it's super convenient.
We do have another option.
Yeah, we have another airport, which is Eindhoven. It's a bit in the south of the Netherlands. It's a smaller airport. So usually there's only like European flights coming from there. If you want to travel from Eindhoven Airport to Utrecht, you have to take a bus first. From the airport, you have to take a bus to the train station of Eindhoven.
And then take the train.
And then from there, take the train. Yeah, I think the bus ride is about, 20 minutes or something, 25 minutes. And then from Eindhoven to Utrecht, it's about an hour. So it's a bit of a longer journey. It's also a bit more expensive. But usually there's more cheaper flights coming in from Eindhoven. Of course, if you're coming from nearby countries such as Belgium or Germany or France, it's also very possible to come by train. We have a very good train network here. Yes.
We do have this.
Yes, it's really cool. Nice. Yeah. We have a pickup service, or actually ISN has a pickup service. ISN is the International Student Network in Utrecht, and they organize a pickup service each year in the last week of August and the first days of September. There will be people of ISN. They will be wearing an orange shirt, so they're good, recognizable. And they will be at Schiphol, and they will be at Utrecht Central train station. And they can show you where to go. They can help you buy a ticket. You can ask them, well, this is where I want to go. Please help me. And they will give you some advice and some tips and tricks. If you can check. Yeah, if you can, you can check the days on our website. And if you can plan your journey that you come in on these days, that would be very helpful. So taking the train from the airport, the picture you see on the right is like the ticket machine of the train. So NS is like that's the logo with the little arrows.
That is the biggest train company.
That's the national train company in the Netherlands. So you have to buy a ticket at the counter. You do have to check because with some machines you can't pay with cash anymore. It's only by card. And if it's by card, it's usually only Maestro or Visa, or VPay. It depends a bit, but you can see on the screen what type of cards they accept. But there's also like a counter that you can go to physically to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
A very important thing that after you've bought the ticket, you need to validate it. So you need to check in and out. Need to check in before you go on the train, and need to check out when you leave the train station, because otherwise your ticket is not valid.
So you see the
right little pole thing
Yeah.
under right down corner.
That's the checking and checkout
Yeah,
machine.
exactly. And at some train stations, you even have to go through these little
Doors.
fences, little doors,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're not allowed to leave the train station without checking out. So you can't forget it.
Yeah. That's true.
So public transport in the Netherlands, we have an OV chipkaart, which basically is a little card that you can get. And you can use it for every public transport method in the Netherlands. So trains, trams, metros, everything.
Buses.
Buses, yeah. And what you can do, you can just load credit onto those cards at a little machine. And then when you check in, it will deduct the money that the trip costs from your card. You have two different ones. You have a yellow one and you have a blue one. The yellow one is a personal one, so we'll have a photo of you. And the benefit of the yellow one is that you can also put subscriptions on there. So for example, if you have to travel every day from Zeist to Utrecht, you can get a subscription for that from the bus. And then it will be cheaper than having to buy every day the same ticket. So there's subscriptions for the train, but there's also subscriptions from the bus. That's a different company, so you have to check that online or ask some of your Dutch friends to help you what would be the best option if you want to get a subscription. I, for example, have a subscription that I can ride the trains for free during the weekends.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I pay 35 euros for that, for the NS. And then you can travel unlimited during the weekends. And it starts Friday night. That's quite handy. So if I want to go somewhere on the weekend traveling or visit some friends in another city, it's very convenient. So these type of subscriptions you can look into. If you have a blue one, then it's an anonymous one. So you're not allowed to put subscriptions on there, but you can just load credit onto it and use it. We have the OV planning app. Yeah. Do you use it?
I use it quite often, actually. And also the NS app, they also have their own app.
Yeah, for the trains.
For the trains.
Only.
You can check the schedules and whether there's delayed or some malfunctions with the train. Then you can just check it.
Yeah, so we have 9292, we call it. Don't ask me why.
I think that's the phone number when you used to check everything. You have to call 1992 and ask them whether this train works or not.
I didn't know that. May need to verify it. But but you can download it as an app on your phone. It's also a website, so you just fill in the address that you're now, or you can also do it on location. If you just press my location, it will use the GPS of your phone. And then you just type in either an address or a train station or a bus station or anywhere you like to go, and it will show you how to get there with public transport. So it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Trains in the Netherlands.
Well, this is really a mystery for me at the beginning. I think it would happen to some people, maybe.
Yeah. I heard a colleague of mine. She is not from the Netherlands. She's from Argentina, and she also said, "I wish someone would have told me this on the day that I got to the Netherlands, because I had no idea about this."
No, not at all.
We have two types of trains in the Netherlands.
They're different.
And they're different. We have an Intercity and we have a Sprinter. And the Intercity is a faster train. So it only stops at the bigger city. It only connects bigger cities. So for example, we have an Intercity that goes from Schiphol to Utrecht, Central Station. The second type of train that we have is a Sprinter. You wouldn't think it because of the name, but it's slower than the Intercity. And it will stop at every in-between train station, so smaller stations. So for example, you have Utrecht Central Station, but you also have Utrecht Overvecht or Utrecht Zuilen. Those are like neighborhoods within Utrecht, and they also have a train station. The Intercity won't stop there, but the Sprinter will. So if you have to go there, you might have to change from the Intercity to the Sprinter. They have different designs as well. The Intercity is yellow, and the Sprinter, as you can see, is more white with blue. Yeah. And the Intercities are also bigger trains. There's more people that can go on there. The Sprinters are smaller.
Usually.
Yeah. So that's very important. You can also see it on the signs when you come on the train station if it's an Intercity or a Sprinter. And it will also tell you on the 9292 app if it's a Sprinter or an Intercity. So very good to realize. But if you go on the Sprinter to Utrecht Centraal, it might take you an hour. And if you go on the Intercity, it take you 30 minutes. Yes. So it's good to realize.
You'll get your destination, but it just takes longer.
It takes a while. But then again, you stop at all these nice places and you can see all the beautiful villages of the Netherlands. So. But of course, we Dutch people love to bike. As you probably already know, it's just the easiest mode of transportation. Definitely as a student, we advise you to buy or rent a bike for your time in the Netherlands. You can buy a second-hand bike for about 50 up to 100 euros. You can buy it on Marktplaats, for example. It's like the Dutch eBay. People put their second-hand stuff on there and other people can buy it. There's also a lot of Facebook groups to buy second-hand bikes. Something new that we have is you also have the possibility to rent a bike now. It's called swap fiets. It's becoming quite big. Fiets is the Dutch word for bike. It's also very good, very handy Dutch word to learn. Yes. So if you want to rent a bike, it will cost about 12 euros per month. And if something, it's also insured. So if something breaks down, you can just call them and you get a new one. But yeah, you have to decide for yourself if you want to pay 12 euros a month or if you just want to buy have your own bike. We do advise you to buy good luck. There's a lot of bike theft here.
2 at least, maybe.
Yeah, at least 2 locks, like a tiny lock for your back wheel, and then a bigger lock to attach it to something. That's always the best way to go. Do you have a bike?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. Actually, I first had a sort of mini bike because I am not used to biking every day to schools. So I first had these bikes not for adults but for children. The children's bike. And then I feel like I am getting more used to biking, so I switched to a larger adult bike.
Okay, nice.
But it was stolen, so I have a new one
that's
now.
That's too bad, yeah.
That's something you may experience as well, get your bike stolen.
Yeah. But sometimes it will also be stolen by the municipality if you parked it wrong. That's also something that can happen. Yeah. And you can actually buy it back from the municipality. I think you have to pay about 30 euros if you parked it in the wrong spot, and then you can get it
maybe
back.
If you find your bike is missing, check the municipality website first to see whether they have your bike.
Exactly. Don't assume that it's stolen directly. It could be with the municipality. Yeah. Okay. Upon arrival, so we're getting there, and you took the train from Schiphol or from Eindhoven, and you're here in Utrecht, and you settled in. The first thing you're gonna want to do is join the orientation days. Yes. So it's a 2-day event on the 29th and the 30th of August. It's for all international students that are coming to Utrecht to start their studies. So you can meet all your fellow international students. There will be a very big information market with all practical things that you need to take care of. There will be a bank, so you can open a bank account or sign up for opening a bank account. There will be all the student organizations that Utrecht has, so you can see what type of organization you might want to join, sports societies and whatnot. There will be information available about health insurance. There will also be workshops and presentations about Dutch culture or about learning the language, living in Utrecht, things like that. And you can buy or rent a bike at the orientation day. Yeah. Did you go to the orientation day?
Yeah, I think it was really helpful. So I would recommend all international students to make it to the orientation day, actually.
Yeah. We will also be there, by the way, so you can also meet
Yay.
us. And it's just very fun. It's a nice beginning of your time in Utrecht.
It prepares you to stay for your stay in Utrecht.
Yeah, definitely. So we have the website Welcome to Utrecht. I've mentioned it a couple of times already. It just has an overview of all the necessary information before coming to the Netherlands, and also when you're in the Netherlands in Utrecht. We also have a Welcome to Utrecht app. On the app, there's also some information, but it's also a way where you can sign up for the workshops and the presentations during the orientation day.
Yeah.
So it's useful to have. You can download it in the App Store, and we will update it along the way and give you some notifications when important stuff is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Finances in the Netherlands. This is very important. The Netherlands is really an increasingly cashless society, which means that at a lot of places you can't even pay with cash at all. You can only pay with your card. Also in supermarkets, there's like different lanes. There's one lane where you can pay with cash, and there is 20 other lanes where you can only pay with your card. So it also goes faster if you pay by card. The most accepted payment methods are either Maestro or VPay. If you have a Visa or an American Express, most likely you can't use it in supermarkets, so it's not very convenient. Life is much easier with a Dutch bank account. Even if you already have a European account, it's just it's easier to get a Dutch bank account. Sorry.
Yeah. I agree.
So opening a bank account. On the screen you see 3 different banks in the Netherlands where you could open an account. There's way more, but these are just 3
the major ones.
Yeah, the 3 big ones. And they one advantage of these 3 is that they also have a lot of information available in English, and they usually used to dealing with international people. All of these banks have specific student packages, so it's cheaper to open a bank account as a student. Mm-hmm. You usually have to provide some proof that you're actually a student, of course, but then it costs not so much, as you can see, about €1.40 for a month. Do you remember how you opened your bank account? Did you go to the bank in person?
I went to I have an ING bank account, and I went to one of their office.
Yeah.
So to ask them to help me open a bank account.
Yeah.
There.
It's usually the easiest if you just go there in person. Mm-hmm. You can probably also do it online, but it might be that you don't understand what they're asking of you, and it's just easier if you can directly talk to somebody. Usually you have to provide some documentation in order to open a bank account. It depends on the bank what they ask of you. Mm-hmm. Usually it's just some sort of passport or ID card. You need to have address in the Netherlands. And since you're applying for a student package, you need to have some proof that you're actually a student, like student card or an acceptance letter or something like that. The ABN AMRO, the first bank, they will also be available at the orientation day, so you can also talk to them if you have any questions about opening a bank account. So the benefits of having a Dutch bank account. You can pay by card in all supermarkets and all other stores in the Netherlands, which is just the most common and easy thing to do, actually. Sometimes other cards are not even accepted, or cash is not accepted, and then you can just always make sure that you can pay. Mm-hmm. Do you use Tiki?
I did, actually. Yeah, I do. It's very convenient. I think it's part of the Dutch culture also. If you go out with your Dutch friends, and then you both order something, and you will probably pay by one person, and then that person will split the bills. So you will get a Tiki invite to pay the amount that you need to pay. So it's convenient. Exactly. You can just connect the Tiki with your bank account as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So it's Dutch culture is like everyone pays for themselves. So,
very detailed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so in the Netherlands, if you get a Dutch bank account, then you also have you can also manage your banking through the internet, and there's also an app that you can download to do all your payments and stuff. And Tiki is also an app, and it's usually you can connect it directly through the app of your bank, so you can immediately pay through your phone, which is super convenient. And a lot of people use it if they owe any money to anybody. Yeah, and also if you want to order things online or
true.
order takeout or buy clothes online or anything and you want it to be sent to your house, then the most common payment method is Ideal. Ideal is also connected to your online banking. So if you go to an app and you want to order food and then you can pay with Ideal, then it will reconnect to your online banking account. You have to log in, and then it will automatically be paid from your Dutch bank account. So that's also very useful to have, and it's the most common payment method on the internet. Yeah, so long story short, get a Dutch bank account.
Life will be so much easier.
Yes. Something else that you need to take care of when you're coming here is you need to register with the municipality because you need to become a citizen of the city that you're living in. The Dutch word for municipality is gemeente. That might be useful to know. And it depends on where you're going to live, with which gemeente you have to register. For example, Siang said you lived in Zeist.
Yes.
So you had to go to the municipality
in
Zeist. Yeah. And if you're living in Utrecht, then you have to go to the municipality in Utrecht. The building that you see here on the slide, that's the municipality in Utrecht. So that's where you have to go if you found a room in Utrecht.
It's very close to the central station.
Yeah,
right?
It's right at the central station.
Oh,
you can literally see it when you're coming in with the train. Yeah. So it depends a bit on the gemeente how they organize the registration. For the gemeente in Utrecht, they really have a specific office, a specific desk for all international students that are coming in, and you can make a special appointment for that specifically. Do you remember how you did it in Zeist?
I did make an appointment with the municipality before, and for Zeist, I have to also give them my birth certificate, sort of.
Okay, yeah. That depends a bit on the municipality if they require that. Yeah,
maybe different.
But usually you have to at least make an appointment in advance. You can usually do that through the internet. Just make an online appointment, and you cannot just go there in person with all your documents and just say, "Hello, I want to register." You have to make an appointment first. And then they will tell you what kind of documents you need. If you are in doubt what you need to bring, you can also contact us. We have a lot of experience. Just contact the admissions office and say, I'm going to live here. Can you tell me what I need? For example, some smaller municipalities might not have a lot of information available in English. So then you can also check with us what is required of you. So, phone and mobile internet in the Netherlands. One very cool thing is that a lot of trains in the Netherlands actually have some international students. It doesn't always work so well, but it is there.
I think it's getting better.
Yeah, it is improving. Of course, in all the university buildings, there's a Wi-Fi connection, a room that you can just connect to. If you want to get a mobile phone subscription, you need to have a Dutch bank account. So then you can just pay a monthly fee and get a certain amount of internet MBs that you can spend. Other option is to have a prepaid, so you can just buy a separate SIM card and then load credit onto that SIM card. SIM cards are available at a lot of supermarkets and other stores in Utrecht. Did you have a?
I have a
subscription.
Yeah, I have a contract. Yes.
Yeah. So it depends a bit on what you want. I mean, if you're only planning to stay here for 6 months, then probably be easier if you buy a prepaid card. Of course, if you're coming from another European country, you might not even have to do it because there's free roaming within the EU as it is. But it depends a bit on what you want. Okay. Hello? Yeah. Student life. this is the last topic. I think
Yay.
we're getting there. I hope you're still with us and still listening to us talking for a very long time. This is going to be the fun part, so be aware. So what can you do next to your studies in Utrecht? What do we have on offer? We have a sports center. It's very big. It's called Olympos. It's at the Utrecht Science Park. You can buy a subscription for Olympos. It's about 14 euros per month or 130 euros for a total year. There's more than 70 sports that you could choose from. You can join a sports association. So we, for example, have a hockey association or a basketball or whatnot. Or you can just go to separate lessons without joining an association. So we have group lessons in spinning or yoga or dancing. There's also a swimming pool. You could do swimming. There's a gym. So there's a lot of things to do. Did you do anything with Olympos?
Yeah, I did for my first year.
And what did you do?
I mainly went to the gym. Actually.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So it's usually cheaper than if you go to an actual gym.
Yeah,
the other options that you see are other gyms. They're not from the university, but they're just in Utrecht. So you could also choose to get a subscription there. But within Olympos, there's also loads of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a cultural center. It's called Parnassus. It's in the city center of Utrecht. There's a lot of courses that you can choose from in music, singing, theater, dance, photography, painting, drawing, public speaking, stand-up comedy. There's really loads of things. And as a student, you get a discount. So there's basically three type of fees that they have for a course. And the cheapest rate is for students.
Always, yes.
They have, of course, a bit of a higher rate for employees. And then they have a third rate for anyone else who wants to join. What is also quite cool from Parnassus is that they have a practice space, like a rehearsal space that you can rent. So, for example, if you play the piano and you don't want to carry your piano on the plane when you're coming to the Netherlands, which we understand, you can rent a practice space with a piano in Parnassus, and then you can practice there. And the same goes if you have your own instrument with you. You can just rent the space so you don't bother your neighbors with your musical instruments. So that's also something you can do, which is quite cool. They also do some bigger productions throughout the year that you can audition for. I think 2 years ago they did for the first time a very big production in English, which was quite cool because, of course, they see the growing amount of international students, so they're doing more and more in English, which is quite nice. Have you done anything with Parnassus?
No, not really. Yeah.
I did a lot of dancing courses with Parnassus, which was quite cool, and I do singing courses as well.
Nice.
They also have a nice theater in Parnassus. It's not super big, but it's like 100 spaces or something. So if you do a course in Parnassus, you're gonna have a performance in that little theater, and you can invite all your friends. And it's really nice. Yeah. So there's loads to do, even if you're not really a sporty type.
Or you can do both.
Yeah, of course. Did I switch a slide? No. Okay. Learning Dutch. There we go. Yeah. As you may already know, in the Netherlands, everyone speaks very well English. In Utrecht, you don't have to worry about the fact that you don't speak the language. Everyone in the supermarket will just switch to English as soon as they hear that you're an international. So there's no real need to learn Dutch unless you want to. And maybe if you feel like you want to stay after you finished your studies or you actually want to work in the Netherlands.
Then it's probably better if you learn Dutch.
Yeah, then it can be helpful if you learn some Dutch. There's a lot of ways that you can learn Dutch. We have an app which is called Hoi Holland. Basically means hello Netherlands. You can download that app and it's all have like these fun exercises and things you can do to catch on some Dutch. Of course, Duolingo. It's probably familiar if you. It's also an app, and they also have the opportunity to learn Dutch. And there's different student associations here in Utrecht that offer language courses. So we have the International Neighbor Group, ING. They have volunteers that do Dutch courses, so it's not that expensive because they're volunteering. If you really want to do a hardcore course, then you could go to our language institute, which is called Babel. They have a discount for students because they're part of Utrecht University. Those are really courses where you have to do multiple hours per week with homework and sit in class. So it's really like a dedicated course. Did you do any Dutch courses?
Yeah, I did actually 2 courses with Babel.
Okay.
But still my language skill is not really that good. I think it's because it's so convenient. I don't feel the necessity to speak Dutch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it makes it difficult for people that really want to learn the language, because as soon as they catch that you're an international,
they switch to English.
And they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're English. You're not Dutch. Let me talk in English with you." So I think there's actually like buttons that people can put on their clothes that say, "Talk Dutch to me."
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, because it's such a common. Spreek Nederlands met me or something like that. Yeah. So to help people to actually speak in Dutch, because sometimes people want to practice but they don't get the opportunity to because everyone's so used to speaking English.
Yeah.
The gemeente, the municipality, they also have Dutch courses if you want to look into that. Useful shops.
These are
This is an overview of some of the useful supermarkets
drugstores.
or drugstores, indeed. I think the most common one in the Netherlands is the Albert Heijn. It's the blue one, the logo in the middle. It's the most common supermarket. You see it everywhere in the city, not only in Utrecht, but everywhere in the Netherlands. It is the most common supermarket, but it's also the most expensive one.
I think so.
Together with the Jumbo, it's also...
If you compare it with the Jumbo.
Yeah. But we also have the cheaper supermarkets such as the Lidl. And the Aldi. The only thing is there are just less supermarkets in the city, so you might have to travel for a while or get on your bicycle to go there. But it will save you a lot of money because the Albert Heijn is not very cheap. We have an IKEA, which is very useful if you want to furnish your room. What else? What of these shops do you go to often?
I really like Hema, actually.
Yeah, Hema is a typical Dutch store.
You can buy almost anything from Hema. So if you think of like stuff that you may not find from Albert Heijn, and you can just go to Hema and probably you can find what you want.
Yeah. They have a lot of things to like decorate, but also a lot of kitchen stuff and
clothes, food,
towels,
cosmetics.
Yeah, they have a lot. It's an experience to go to the Hema. I would recommend it if you come here.
Yeah. They also have food, so it's really cheap Dutch food.
Yeah, so the Hema is our national treasure.
I agree.
Other shops that we have, we have the Kruidvat and the Ethos. They are like drugstores. Yeah. Kruidvat is a bit cheaper than the Ethos. The Action is also a nice store where you can buy a lot of things that are quite cheap.
Decorations.
Decoration stuff, but also like things that you could buy at a drugstore. You can also buy it at the Action, and it's usually cheaper.
And there's one inside the train station.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you come to the train station in Utrecht, there's directly a sort of shopping mall attached to the train station with a lot of stores. There's also an Action in there. Yeah. Okay.
Food.
The Dutch food, so...
Why do we have a slide of this?
Just a heads up for the Dutch food. The Netherlands is not really known for its like famous cuisine, I would say. The only like signature dishes that we have is a lot of fried stuff.
Deep fried stuff.
So you have the cassoufflé, which is basically like melted cheese.
I really like cassoufflé.
It's nice. Yeah, it's a good snack. And of course we have the bitterballen. That's like very famous. Yeah, it's sort of like
smashed
meat inside with a little crunchy thing. Yeah. And we usually have it when we have drinks. Yeah, other things that we have the herring, of course, the raw herring with the onions, and you have to get it by its tail and then eat it
Eat the
like
whole
this.
thing.
Yeah, I don't really like it at all. Have you tried a herring?
Yeah, I do. But I cannot have like more than two a day. It will be too much. Because it has a lot of fat in it. So yeah, it's nice, but I wouldn't eat it for like every day.
No, it's like a special treat that you give yourself whenever
Yeah.
you feel like it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the other thing, the kapsalon. Did you know what that was?
I don't really know what is
Uh,
kapsalon.
Yeah, well,
Strange.
literally, kapsalon means the Dutch word means hairdresser. That's the word, kapsalon. But it's basically like this tinfoil sort of thing, and it's filled with fries and with meat and salad and sort of mayonnaise, and it's all smashed together, basically.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people eat it like before they go out or after they go out because it's quite filling. Yeah, it's a thing. I don't know what to say about it.
Do you like it?
No, not really, because the fries get all wet and smushy
Oh,
because
yeah,
of everything
that's
is
not
mixed
nice.
together. And no, it's yeah, but it is
Maybe
a
just have a regular
typical
fries.
food. Yeah, I would rather have regular fries, yes. But yeah, as you can see, this is like the level of Dutch cuisine. It doesn't get any better than this.
So deep fried stuff and mashed stuff.
But the good thing about the Netherlands is that we have a lot of different cuisines here from
That's
other
true.
cultures as well. So there's a lot of like Italian restaurants or Indian restaurants or Chinese
Asian
and yeah,
restaurant, yeah.
Asian, yeah. So there's a lot of options there, but specifically Dutch food, well, this is it. Another thing about Dutch food that we have is bread. Of course, we Dutch people
And
eat a
more
lot of
bread.
bread. Yeah. This is like a screenshot of every type of bread that is available at the Albert Heijn at the supermarket. And this is not everything. You can scroll down for like two
this
pages.
is only the first
Yeah.
page.
Because we Dutch people, a lot of Dutch people eat bread for breakfast and then also for lunch.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of sandwiches going on there, usually with like cheese or ham or not very exciting.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter, exactly. Yeah. So maybe you can make it into your personal challenge if you're coming here to eat all the types of bread before you leave the Netherlands again. I dare you. It's going to be challenging. Usually all the supermarkets have like this little bakery in the supermarket store where they
So you can buy really
where they bake
fresh
all their bread. Yeah.
bread.
So there's a lot of options there if you like bread. Do you eat bread for lunch now that you're living in the Netherlands?
Also for breakfast, sometimes for lunch.
Wow.
I find it very convenient to just have sandwich for lunch. And I have to say, the bread in the Netherlands is not that bad, actually. It's
No.
quite good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Usually when I go abroad and I eat bread there, then I like it less
Yeah,
because I'm used to
exactly.
the bread in the Netherlands. Yeah.
The quality is very good.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's about Dutch food.
Oh, stroopwafel.
The stroopwafel, yeah, we didn't even mention it in the food, but that's also a very famous cookie that we have. Dutch cookie is like a waffle with caramel inside, and it's really good. And it's typical Dutch. Yeah, so we thought we would give you a little Dutch culture class one-on-one. It's a bit confronting for me because I am Dutch. So for me, it's a bit weird seeing all these things on a list.
Like these are very obvious things.
Yeah. So what stands out for you if you see this list?
I think it may confuse a lot of people what borrel is.
Yeah.
I think you can maybe explain it a little bit what a borrel
Yeah,
is.
a borrel, it's a Dutch word and we use it for basically every type of gathering that involves drinks, basically. It's like our Dutch word for drinks. So if we go out into the city and we drink something and we have some bitterballen, we call that a borrel.
Snacks.
Yeah. So if you join a study association, for example, study association or a student association, they're gonna have monthly borrels, monthly drinks that you can join. It's just a cafe and they rent space out for everyone that's part of the association. And you just have a little drink and you mingle and you chat and we call that a borrel. Yeah. It's probably a word that you're gonna encounter a lot if you're coming here. Yeah. By the end of your stay in the Netherlands, you'll know exactly what it is.
Yeah. And also gezellig. Am
Yeah,
I pronouncing it correctly?
gezellig. Yeah.
Gezellig.
Yeah, how would you... Gezellig is like a word that I don't really know how to translate in English. I think what comes
It has
close
multiple
is...
meanings.
Yes, it has many layers.
Yeah.
I
So
think
deep.
what comes close is like coziness or something. Pleasant, yeah. It's basically me. I mean, if you go to a borrel and you have a nice time, and then afterwards you ask your friend asks you, "Hey, how was the borrel?" And you say, "Yeah, it was gezellig. It was nice. I liked it. I had a good time."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a word that we use for a lot of situations, and it's just like fun, pleasant, cozy.
So you may hear it a
Yeah,
lot.
you're gonna hear it a lot, and it's like a nice typical Dutch pronunciation with the
Gezellig.
Yeah, what else? We give 3 kisses when we greet each other. That's a
the
very
face.
Dutch thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on the cheek. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah, birthday congratulations. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
a thing.
if you go to a Dutch birthday party, then it's very common that you first congratulate the actual birthday girl or boy. You give them 3 kisses and you say congratulations, and then afterwards you go around the room through all the other guests and you also congratulate them with the birthday girl or boy. Everyone. Yeah. So it's a whole like ritual that we do. And if there's a lot of people, it will take you a while. Yeah. I don't know why, but that's what we do. Yeah.
So if there are gonna be a lot of people, make sure you are the first one arrive. Maybe.
That's a very good tactic. Yeah. If you just come first, then everyone
you
has to
can stand
congratulate
there.
you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What else? Yeah. If you're gonna go to a Dutch home, then if you go to the toilet there, a lot of times you find a birthday calendar on the toilet. Don't ask me why, but everyone does it.
So probably if you go to the house viewing nights and then you ask to use the
bathroom,
toilet,
yeah.
probably you will see the calendar.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's not like a typical student thing or something.
Oh.
It's just, no, not at all. It's like at my parents' house, there is a birthday calendar on the toilet. Or when I go to my aunt or my uncle, it's like, it's not typically a student thing, but just in general, Dutch people have birthday calendars on their toilets.
Oh.
And I can't tell you why, but usually when I go to the toilet somewhere, I check if my birthday is on the calendar and I can see.
Add it.
Yeah, exactly. And I can see how good of a friends people are.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's also something we do. Yeah. We like discussing the weather too. It's like this awkward conversation topic that you can just talk to whenever you don't have something else to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like, when you're awkwardly
nice
standing
weather.
next to one, and you're like, oh, nice weather, huh? Yeah.
Mooi.
Yeah. Mooi. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Beautiful, that means.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is like an overview of Dutch culture. You're probably gonna encounter a lot of these things when coming here. Dutch people like to plan. Also, they like to schedule a lot. So if you want to plan, just having a drink with one of your friends, they will say, "Oh, let me check my agenda." Well, what about in 3 weeks on a Thursday?
Yeah, exactly. Very specific.
Yeah. Yeah. We like to plan. We're busy. We like to keep ourselves busy and meet up with a lot of friends and have a lot of activities or hobbies. So we're just very busy people in general. Yeah.
I think almost everyone has their own sort of calendar book thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I do too. And I'll grow into this habit.
Dutchified. Yeah. So this is like a small overview of Dutch culture 101. The weather. Yeah. We just wanted to prepare you a little bit for the weather when you're coming to the Netherlands. We do have some nice summer days, like in the months May, June, July, August. But it also rains a lot here, guys. Really, I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it. It's gonna be a lot of rain. So much that we even have an app to see if there's any rain coming, so you can plan when you have to go on your bicycle.
Yeah.
It's called Buienradar. You can see it down on the slide. It's super convenient. It will just show you a map and it will show you the clouds, so you can see how heavy the weather is going to be. If it's really heavy, the clouds are going to be red, so you know it's going to be like crazy pouring. Yeah. So it's very convenient to just check before you have to go somewhere if it's going to rain.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it helps to wear layers in the Netherlands and to bring layers, because it could be that in the morning it's quite cold, and then in the afternoon the sun comes out, and then in the evening it's raining. So you need to be prepared for anything in that sense. A good waterproof coat is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
You can also buy it in the Netherlands if you don't have it. We have a lot of stores here to buy them. A very Dutch thing is also pants for the rain, like rain pants. That's an actual thing. You can buy it at the HEMA.
You can buy the whole suit.
Yeah, basically. A whole rain suit, basically. So that just comes on top of your regular clothes, and that you can take off when you've reached your destination. Yeah. Super Dutch.
It is very common to see people actually stop like underneath the bridge and then put on their raincoats or rain pants.
Definitely. Yeah.
Get used to it.
Yeah. And it's super convenient. I mean, if you take it off when you've reached your destination and you have dry pants, I'm always so happy that I put it on. It's comfortable and it's very convenient, very practical. So that about the weather. We're almost there. We're almost at the end. We're gonna give you a small emergency crash course in Dutch. So we wrote down some words that we feel that you might need when you come here. I'm just gonna go over some of them, some of the things I think are fun. So some key words, for example, ziekenhuis is a hospital. Mm-hmm. Can be useful to know. Bioscoop is cinema. What else? Well, doctor, it's quite similar. A huisarts is a GP. Yeah. It's also a very useful word. Do you know all these words, by the way?
I know most of them, actually. So it is useful to do 2 Dutch courses. Yeah. At least I know most of this.
Yeah. So if you would say to me, have a good evening, what do you say?
Fijne avond.
Heel goed. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, fijne avond. Or you say good morning, we say goedemorgen. Yeah, goedemiddag, goedenavond. Everything with the you can practice that at home. Goed. Yeah, very good. So if at the supermarket, if you want to pay by card, that's called pinnen. Yeah. That's a very useful word. Usually you also say these little desks where it say alleen pinnen. So it means you can only pay by card. Yeah. So it's very useful if you can already see that before you actually stand in line there. At the supermarket, they will also ask you a lot, gaat het zo mee? That basically means, will you manage to take it all, or do you need a bag? So if you're here with a lot of groceries and they ask you, gaat het zo mee? And then you can say, ja hoor, or no.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you need a bag? Tasje erbij. Tasje means bag. Yeah, so
small
like
bag.
A small plastic bag. Yeah. You usually have to pay like 10 or 15 cents for a plastic bag. Bonnetje is the receipt. So they will ask you, bonnetje mee? Would you like the receipt?
I think that's probably the first Dutch word. I
bonnetje? Yeah.
From the supermarket, because it's always bonnetje mee.
Yeah. And after you've come in a few times in a supermarket, you're going to start recognizing that word, probably. Yeah. Bonnetje, it's a very useful word. And if you want to ask if you want to order a coffee or something, you can say, mag ik? Can I have? Mag ik koffie? Mag ik thee? Mm-hmm. Or if you want to get directions, you want to know where something is, where is waar is. So, waar is de bioscoop? Where is the cinema? Or waar is het ziekenhuis? Where is the hospital? So these are just some tiny instructions if you want to learn Dutch a little bit. You can of course also download the app that we mentioned. We're also doing an online Dutch course for all international students. You can sign up for that. You've probably received an email about that. So then you can also prepare something at home if you want to. Well, checklist. We're at the end of this webinar, finally. I hope you're still with us. I hope you've enjoyed it. Our very extensive presentation. We have a checklist just to quickly go over everything that we mentioned to make sure you don't miss anything. So the first step is confirm your place at UU if you are admitted. Hopefully you've already done this at this point. You have to pay the tuition fee in time, submit the visa application, pick up your entry visa in your country, make sure you have valid health insurance. Of course, don't forget your passport or ID card when you're coming here. That would be very unfortunate. Make sure to look into accommodation and housing. Start now. Can't stress that enough. Bring appropriate clothing. Layers, like we said, is
winterproof.
Yeah, and it's cold here, depending on what you're used to, what country you're from.
Windproof, waterproof.
Yeah. Bring a lot of sweaters and layers and waterproof stuff. So plan your trip in advance with public transport. So see what time your flight leaves, lands, and how you can come to Utrecht after that. Join the orientation day. It's gonna be fun. You don't want to miss it. Schedule an appointment with the municipality to register and open a bank account. Yeah, I think those are the main things. Yes. We have a student service desk, just to mention. If you run into anything and you have questions or you need help with anything, just visit us at the student service desk. We're located at the Utrecht Science Park. It's called UU4U Student Services. There's people at the desk between 10 and 12 and between 1 and 3. So you can just go there. You don't have to make an appointment. You can also call them or email them if you have any questions with basically anything. So yeah,
they're there for you.
They're there for you.
Yeah.
Yes. So feel free to go there if you run into anything. Also, I wanted to mention that we have a Facebook group for all future students of Utrecht that you can join. We are managing that group, so we will post some fun content in there and some videos and some. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can also just address it in the Facebook group. It's a good way to meet your fellow students. And yeah, this is the contact hours of the student desk and the email address and the phone number. So it's useful to have. Let's see. And follow us on Instagram. So you see all these beautiful pictures of Utrecht that you're gonna see live, hopefully in a few weeks from now. So I hope that you're excited of coming here. The Q&A, we're continuing the chat now. So if you want to ask some more questions, please drop them in the chat box, and we will answer them. We hope you're excited to coming to Utrecht, and we hope we've covered everything that you need to know. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
And hopefully see you soon in Utrecht.
Yeah, and hope you have a nice day.
Yes.